If you're new to our channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
Program today, it's about weeds in which you can eat that are growing in your garden.
And we're also talking about the back to eating garden method, which is a neat concept. And we have our guests, Kirsten and Christopher Shockley from Fermentation.works, where they're going to talk about vegetable fermentation.
As well as your garden questions and our garden answers. Garden Talk Radio starts right now. It is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show on 860 AM WNOV and W293CX 106.5, wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, whether on those particular stations, the TuneIn app, the Simple Radio app, or the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com website, or anywhere in between. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com is a destination where you can go and find over 1,200 garden videos, short and long format, in-studio videos of the replay of this program, as well as podcast and download podcast short and long formats of this particular program. There's a number of ways in which you can contact us during the next hour. You can certainly email us at twvgshow@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is twvgshow, or you can call in the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline.
IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, you can visit ivorganics.com, and the number is 414-444-5250.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, instead of weeding the garden, we're going to talk about weeds in which you can eat in your garden. So we're going to talk about weeding the garden next week, but we're going to go over 6 plants. People call them weeds. Weeds are technically a plant that is grown or being grown in a place that is not intended for it. So weeds are not really weeds. It's just that's the terminology in which they're used to describe them.
And they're usually pretty resilient.
Well, weeds, and we've talked about this on the program, they will outcompete your vegetables for 3 reasons. 1, they will propagate from root cuttings, from rhizomes, and from seeds. Very few vegetables in which you're growing, or fruits for that matter, propagate from all 3 of those categories. Typically, they'll produce seeds and they'll regenerate the next time. Very few will propagate from rhizomes, and very few will propagate from root cuttings. So that's why your weeds outcompete your vegetables each and every year. But we'll get more into that next week about the proper procedures and methods in which you can use in order to weed your garden, so you have fewer and fewer weeds to use throughout the growing season and next year.
Now, the most important thing is that if you're going to eat any of these weeds, make sure you're properly identifying them, and that you're sure that is what they are, because obviously you don't want to consume the wrong thing.
There are some edible weeds, we'll call them weeds, plants that have lookalikes. So you need to be very aware of that particular aspect of it, that because plant A is plant A and it's a weed and I can eat it, there are plant B, C, and D that look very similar but have very minute different characteristics to identify it as a non-edible plant versus the edible plant in which you're eating that weed.
Right.
So I think that the easiest one, or one that most people are familiar with, is the good old family yard dandelion. That's one everybody is pretty much familiar with. There is over 300 different varieties of dandelions in the world, and there's all parts of the plant are edible.
Right. So you can eat the greens and the root. Well, you don't eat the root, but you use the root. So you can use both. And dandelion greens are really good for you. They're high in vitamin C, B6, Thiamin, Riboflavin, calcium, iron, potassium, and then Manganese. So there's also folate, magnesium, phosphorus, and copper. So it's not only just like minerals, but it's also, if you eat them or use them in a salad or something, then they're good. They're high in fiber as well.
They're not the most enjoyable plant to eat. If you've never had a dandelion green, it is quite bitter. It's not sweet and lovely and rainbows and candy and and all that. It has a bitterness taste to it. But there are a lot of things in life. You grew up and your parents said, well, it tastes horrible, but it's good for you. So it's kind of that type of mindset. But the root, explain the root procedure. We eat the greens. We can mix that in with a salad to break up that bitterness for health properties. The roots are a different means of preparation, but have a very beneficial aspect to what they provide.
Right. So the roots are good for if you have a stomach upset, If you have intestinal problems, the roots are good for that. And also, it is a blood tonic, which means it's supposed to help it's good for your blood. So things like, this is not.
We are not physicians. Before you eat weeds and you want to get these benefits from them, seek your physician and get their professional opinion. But we're just giving you the information, and you can decide what's best for you and your particular situation.
Right. Anyway, so what you do is you boil the roots and you make like a tea. I'm assuming that the tea, since the dandelion greens are not very tasty, they're okay, but they're kind of bitter. I'm assuming the tea is probably kind of bitter. I've never had it, but you could always, sweeten it up a bit. But the important is boiling the roots for about 15 minutes and drinking that tea.
And with any of these plants, any of these weeds, proper identification, and make sure they weren't sprayed with some toxicity if you're finding them in a park, in a field, etc. Because just because the plant looks healthy does not necessarily mean it hadn't been sprayed with some type of toxicity 24, 48 hours prior to you picking it. So be aware of that. Another one that is familiar, at least with the Native Americans, it's very popular in the prepper world, is called lambsquarter, pig's foot, or goosefoot. This is very popular. It grows very readily in many places here in the Milwaukee area, as well as where I'm from down south.
I'm sure you have it and you don't even realize you have lambsquarters. It's very easy to identify and it's very common. So it's a good substitute for spinach because it has that folate, iron, magnesium. It's a good source of fiber, and then it has different vitamins in it. So it's definitely something that you can try. Some people will mix it in with their pesto. They'll make like a basil lambsquarter pesto. There's a few different things you can do with it.
Younger the plant, the more tender the leaves are. As it gets older, it becomes more tough, and you can use it in stir fries, but you'll have to cook it down. We've ate it. It's not that terrible. It's a substitute for spinach if you're looking for something. But again, try to get those plants. Those plants right now, at least in our gardens and areas, are 3-4 inches tall, maybe a foot in some instances, but very young, tender plants. Let's talk about dandelion greens. We've covered the root, we covered the greens, okay. Purslane. Here's something that you can actually physically buy from seed suppliers to grow in your garden, in your containers. When we have a very wet spring here, we have this naturally coming up in our garden beds, in all three of our garden beds, and some containers. The purslane comes up naturally. So it's extremely tiny seeds. You don't necessarily have to buy it unless you're specifically wanting to grow this for an edible green crop.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen it everywhere, especially, like you said, if we have a more wet spring. I don't know why you would plant that. I've seen it grow pretty much everywhere. It's easy to identify. It's kind of like a flatter...
A ground cover.
Kind of like a ground cover, yeah.
Waxy-looking leaves.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's pretty. I can understand why you would grow it on purpose in a container, but it's, like I said, it's everywhere. So the good thing about it is that it is, I don't know if this is because of the components of the plant, but it has omega-3 fatty acids in it. It tops the list of plants that have that. So of all the plants that you can eat, this is the highest. And if you don't know what omega-3 fatty acids are, they are a good fat for us. Our body does not produce it, and most Americans don't get enough of it.
A deficiency.
Yeah, we have a deficiency. So, and there's many different benefits. You can look that up for yourself. But if you can get from a plant, that's awesome.
Let's look at Broadleaf plantain. Correction there. Broadleaf plantain, not the banana.
No,
this is a weed.
A weed, yeah.
It's probably growing in your yard right now.
Yeah, it's really easy to identify. If you look it up, you'll see, and you'll be like, oh, I've seen that my whole entire life.
I've got the whole backyard full of them.
You're probably running over with your lawnmower. So broadleaf plantain, it's another blood purifier, good for your lymphatic system, and it's a substitute.
It's good
for your digestive system. And it's a good substitute for greens. So you could use it like kale or spinach, or
cook it down, get it tender.
Any type of green.
Younger the plant. When these plants go to seed, they become bitter, just like your lettuce, your spinach, that type of situation. So keep getting it young. And I believe, and I cannot confirm this at this moment, Lambsquarter, you can buy it, and there's several different varieties of Lambsquarter that based on where you're at. Another one is burdock. Now, this is what the preppers or survivalists call a last-ditch survival food, because it is not a very wonderful thing to eat, but it will keep you alive, assuming the world ends and you and your family are only 4 people left on the planet. This is something in which you can eat and stay alive until something great happens. I'm not really sure.
I'm not really sure if the plan is there.
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever, but I don't personally want to eat burdock.
Right. It's Burdock is the correct spelling of it.
It's easily identified, and it's another one that is good for, and I've heard it's good for arthritis, and it's good for colds, things like that. It kind of boosts your immune system.
Different agencies will say, or independent studies show that it can combat cancer, improve, get rid of the cancer cells. Don't know, not a physician, but a lot of these claims, there might be a lot of truth to them, because I always say, if you're, and this is not a science-based, this is my philosophy, if your body's ailing from something, there is something that God has put in nature that will fix the problem your body has. That's my philosophy. Now, I could be totally off on that a little bit, but that's kind of what I go off of. But the burdock, it's a very small plant. We've got several of them naturally growing in our garden, not purposely, but we will remove them, because what happens is they can get 6, 8, 12 feet tall, put a lot of flower seeds on, then basically
kind of invasive.
Overtake the area very, very quickly, yes.
So those are...
and this is just 6 of many.
But I think these are the most commonly found, easy to identify, and understandable. One thing I want to mention is Creeping Charlie. That's part of the mint family. You can use that for your teas, things like that. Just obviously make sure if you do use that, since most of us have an abundance of it, that it hasn't been sprayed with anything, pesticides or whatnot, that it's any of these weeds really, that it's coming from a pure form.
And this is weeds in your garden. There's wild edibles, and that's a whole nother realm, a whole nother category of thousands of plants that you can go in the woods, prairies, and eat those. So when we come back, we're going to talk about something that maybe is more interesting, which is the Back to Eden garden method. This is that concept of putting wood chips on the ground and then planting in it. We'll get more in detail of how it really works right after this.
24/7/365. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com has all the gardening information you need: videos, digital magazines, replays of shows, and more.
Hoss Tools wants to help you grow your own food. From seed starting supplies, hand tools, drip irrigation, harvesting equipment, and a complete line of all-natural pest control solutions, they've got you covered. Keep your garden weed-free with their time-tested, American-made wheel hose that are built to last a lifetime. And the Precision Garden Seeders have proven design for planting a wide variety of seeds. Hoss Tools has what you need to get the most out of your growing space, large or small. Free shipping and outstanding customer service. Shop online or request a free catalog at HossTools.com.
I know you're looking for an alternative to harsh chemicals, but you want professional strength products. BioSafe's garden line gives you just that. Professionally used for 20 years, available to homeowners. Organic solutions that are effective. They offer an array of eco-friendly products, from plant food, fertilizer, to one-of-a-kind herbicides, organic weed killer. BioSafe's products can be used around children, pets, wildlife, so you can enjoy your yard more. Grow stronger, healthier with BioSafe. Find us on Facebook at BioSafe Home and Garden, and visit us at biosafe.net to learn more. Get 10% off your next purchase at biosafe.net by using coupon code TWVG at checkout.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar, honey, or any alternative sweetener you'd like. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Available at most natural food stores and online.
Purple Cow Organics quickly and naturally increases the uptake of nutrients and water to your plants with their new bioactive vegetable supercharger designed to meet the unique needs by helping the living organisms in the soil help plants uptake the nutrients more quickly through their roots and leaves. Find out more at purplecoworganics.com. The Gardener's Hollow Leg, the debris and harvesting bag you wear, comes with its own belt attachment, perfect for doing light pruning, weeding, harvesting on the ground or on a ladder, and many other uses. Find out more at thegardenershollowleg.com. Save 10% by using the word veggies at checkout. Aphid's a bad bug for your garden. This garden fun fact is sponsored by ManureTea.com. Get your 3-pack today. Drop the tea bag in water, let steep, then feed your soil, not your plants. 100% organic. Find out more at ManureTea.com. Always free shipping. Honeydew is a sugary byproduct extracted by aphids. Ants like this as it is rich in carbohydrates. Some ants live with aphids in a mutual beneficial relationship. The ants protect the aphids, and the aphids give the ants honeydew. Some ants have even been known to stroke the aphids with their antennas to produce more honeydew. Zaz Products, offering great quality supplements that can help personal health and increase longevity. Committed to bringing you the highest quality products at the lowest price. Find out more at ZazProducts.com.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener is brought to you by the following: Handy Safety Knife, BioSafe, Tall Earth,
CHAPIN International,
The Plant Booster, Ivy Organics, Woodman's Market, Blue Mel's Landscape and Garden Center. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your host, Joey Halle-Berry.
There's many different techniques in which you can garden. Raised beds, traditional ground containers, straw bale gardening. There is one that many people have done and then felt it wasn't as great as they portrayed it to be or read about it, maybe because the procedure in which they followed was not correct. This is called Back to Eden gardening. There is a big movie about this. And
right, so Back to Eden Garden is it's a really great concept, and if you do it correctly, people love it. But as Joey had mentioned, sometimes people don't do things correctly. We hear this with the straw bales all the time. So you have to follow the procedure, the process.
So here's the overall umbrella of what the Back to Eden garden method is, and we'll break this down into the steps in which it will be successful in your particular location. The concept is you get wood chips, you pile it on the ground, and you let the wood chips break down, hold moisture, prevent weeds, and you have this phenomenal garden that produces extremely heavily for you with a minimal amount of work. That's the concept. That's that little nutshell.
And you're not supposed to really get weeds either.
Right.
Right.
So here there are several steps in which you need to follow to achieve this magnificent end result of this minimal to no weed garden that holds the moisture, that has a magazine cover type of garden picture production, that whole thing. So
the first one is after you choose the area, you choose your area, and it has to be an area that you're going to commit to gardening for some time, basically. So it's not just like, I might want to grow here, but I don't know, and maybe in a few years I might not want to grow here. It's like it's a permaculture idea.
And people will say, well, how small do I need this to be, or how big do I need this to be? Really, it's not a bad concept to have, the whole backyard in this, because if you do it right, you don't have to, even if you don't plant anything in a particular location, you don't have to deal with mowing the grass. You don't have to do with, that type of thing. But you can do it small scale. But 4x4 raised 4x4 area, I would want to do it a little larger because of the time that the investment you put into this. It will pay dividends obviously, it worked great, man. I wish I would have made it bigger. So that type of thing. I would go 20 by 20. That would be my starting size.
Right. So, yeah. So then you cover the area with newspaper. Now, if you have ginormous weeds growing in that area or tall grass, you want to cut that down, possibly, you don't have to pull the grass out, pull the weeds out, but you want to make sure that you're not just trying to place newspaper on top of
mow it down to the dirt.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do that, and then you're going to cover it with compost. So whatever kind of compost you want, whether it be something like Purple Cow, whether it be manure, you need to just cover it with compost. Probably about a good inch or so, I would say.
1 to 3 inches. Let's just go. Because people think, back to Eden, put wood chips down, plant in the wood chips, I'm good to go. What they're failing to understand is wood chips does not contain the nutrients, and seeds don't germinate very well in wood chips, or very minimal to no germination. So you have to have some type of bedding material in order for these seeds or plant starts to live off of while the wood chips break down and put that layer of barrier between the soil and the atmosphere of the world.
Right. So you put down the compost, and then you're going to cover it with 6 inches of wood chips. You kind of want to mimic the forest floor. Now, when you use these wood chips, you want to make sure you know where they're coming from, because you're going to grow food into these wood chips, essentially.
You don't want a dyed wood chip. You want a natural wood chip. There are groups, companies that you can get a hold of that will bring wood chips to your property.
If you search Back to Eden Gardening on their website, there's a wood chip finder link.
Locator.
So that you can find the proper wood chips.
It's not 100% wood chips. You need something that has limbs, branches, leaves to create that layering effect, that lasagna layering effect, where there's gaps and air pockets. It's not just a solid block of wood chips like a particle board that's been compressed. You need that air so water can penetrate through and not create this solid mat of wood on top of that soil. So you want that variety of material in that wood chip mixture.
Right. So that's exactly what you want and need, is something that is going to essentially mimic the forest floor.
And we put the compost underneath that wood chips because forest floor, what's going on in the forest? You got animals, critters, microbial life producing manure, fertilizing the soil, and feeding the plant life in the on the lower levels of that forest floor. The leaves fall, create a layer of coverage, and then the cycle continues, and that's why the forest floor is so rich in nutrients and so healthy, because that constant cycle of compost, leaves, breakdown material.
Right. So we have the wood chips, and we have on top of the compost, on top of the newspaper, on top of the ground. So then at this point you are ready to plant. So what you would do is you basically you don't plant the plants in the wood chips.
Right.
You kind of move them aside and you plant them in that compost.
Right. And then you bring the wood chips back once, if you got plant start or the seeds, have germinated, create a little drill there. But, and you do not want to mix wood chips into that compost in which you plant it.
No, that's why you want to layer it.
And this is a no-till, a no-dig type of concept. Now, there may be some people do potatoes very successfully in this type of situation, root crops, that type of thing, when it comes to, even though you have a small layer of compost. If you allow this to occur 5, 6, 8 years down the road, you will have to layer more wood chips on, because the wood chips break down, create a compost material, and feed the soil. And then as you dig, if you did an experiment 8 years down the road and you took a little spot and dug into the soil in which you covered, you will be amazed that 8, 9, 12, 15 inches below soil level, you have good, rich, fertile, organic matter, soil, black. It has fed that soil, it has increased the depth of the topsoil layer naturally underneath that wood chip bed in which you created nearly a decade ago.
Right, exactly. So, So that's exactly what you're going to do. People love it, but again, you have to do it the correct way. Just like anything, if you don't, you're just going to
take shortcuts. You're going to be disappointed.
Right, and you have to want to invest in some time. It's not going. I mean, you can plant it right away, but for it to break down, feed the soil, become its own little ecosystem, it's going to take some time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of people, wood chips, put it on the ground, plant in them, done, and it doesn't work. They get discouraged. They put posts on their blog, website, whatever, videos, this didn't work, this is a bunch of fill in the blank. But it really...
And I just want to mention, because we might get a question like, why can't I just put wood chips over my garden where it is now? You can, especially if you are in a raised bed situation, but you don't want to mix them in because they will take the nitrogen from your soil, and you want to be aware of when you're moving them around to plant your plants.
And if you've already got a raised bed, you've got tremendously good soil in there. You've brought soil in, so I would just use a mulch, shredded leaves, chemical-free grass clippings, straw, and go that route. Now this is really a beneficial procedure for an area that has never been gardened before. You've done a soil test, you found the soil is not toxic, and then you've created this environment. There is a individual in New Jersey, his YouTube channel is James Prigiani, and he did this. He created a food forest essentially in the urban area of New Jersey in his parents' backyard 7 years ago, and it looks like you wouldn't believe what it is now. He's got dozens of fruit trees and plants growing everywhere, and he produces hundreds of thousands of pounds of food each year off this urban lot that was a backyard of his parents' house. So it can be done even in an urban setting on a vacant lot. Again, toxicity, make sure you're okay with that. So the Back to Eden Garden method, it's not something Holly and I have practiced yet.
No.
This would be something that when we get a property that we would dedicate a certain area for that particular application and do multiple different methods of gardening just for our enjoyment. But it does work very, very well. There's many videos online that show the success and the value of doing a Back to Eden Garden method. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk all about fermentation from the authors of a book called Ferment.works right after this.
Got a question? Email the show at twvgshow@gmail.com.
Mycorrhizae is a beneficial fungus from PlantSuccessOrganics.com that will greatly increase your plant's germination ability and healthier root structure. You can increase seed sprouting, root growth, and general plant germination. Mycorrhizae can be used with hydroponic root cutting, seed sprouting, cocoa coir, and soil. PlantSuccessOrganics.com carries powder, granule, and tablet form of mycorrhizae. Increase the level of mycorrhizae in your soil to give your plant the optimal opportunity to produce incredible harvests. For more information and to purchase, visit PlantSuccessOrganics.com.
Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune, just 99 cents at migardener.com. Now with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round. Pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and garden needs, tools, and special blend fertilizers. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated.
Do you enjoy hanging baskets but struggle to keep them properly watered? The Plant Booster Self-Watering System is a mechanical system that will ensure optimal soil moisture at all times by reacting to the weight of each plant. The weight of each plant tells the system how much water it needs. Unlike a timer-controlled system where all plants get water at the same time, whether they need it or not. Also ideal for condos or apartments with no outdoor water source. Check out details, videos, and extensive explanation and ideas for application at plantbooster.net.
Tall Earth Wood Treatment all-in-one preservative and stain offers lifetime protection and creates a unique silver-aged wood finish. All ingredients are non-toxic, eco-friendly, perfect for garden beds and veg trunk. Find out more at tallearth.com. Free shipping on all orders. Use coupon code WISCONVEG to save 15% off orders placed at tallearth.com. Shield and Seal Vacuum Sealers and the highest quality vacuum sealing products, unique black and clear and all black bags, protecting your produce and product better than traditional bags. Find out more at shieldandseal.com. Root Assassin, a garden tool that does all the root functions with its advanced shovel that has serrated edges on both sides. Find out more information at rootassassinshovel.com.
Woodman's is a Wisconsin-based family-owned company founded in 1919. They offer low prices in every single aisle every day. No need to carry a discount card. From produce to meat to international to natural and organic, all offered at the lowest possible prices. Over 60,000 products at every store. Service and savings every day. They're employee-owned to help you save money. They also offer online shopping for pickup and delivery, working to save you more money. Visit woodmans-food.com to find the nearest location. Beans and Barley Marketing Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice, a health food store with hundreds of products, vitamin supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Flame Engineering, Eco Garden Systems, Bobex, Plant Success, Beans and Barley, Am I Gardener, Outpost Natural Food Co-op, Root Assassin, Manure Tea, The Gardener's Hollow Leg. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
When you want to do a job, you want it done right the first time, whether you're doing it or you're having somebody come in and you're paying them to do that job. Well, whether you're gardening or having landscape done or doing lawn care or buying bulk material, Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center is the place in which you can have it done or have the information and materials in which you can accomplish that goal correctly and right the first time.
Right. They have all the supplies that you need. They have landscape professionals, so I would definitely check them out because they have great, knowledgeable staff, and they're there to help you. They're there to serve the customer.
This is what they do.
So you can go to Blue Mills at 4930 West Loomis Road in Greenfield, just south of Layton. Go to bluemills.com or call 414-282-4220.
The owner of the company actually works in the building, so that is a pretty phenomenal. Most times you don't get that. Well, Holly, let's go to the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard Hotline and bring in our next guest.
Kirsten and Christopher Shockey got their start in fermenting foods first in their home and then their farmstead food company, where they created over 40 varieties of cultured vegetables and sprouts. When they realized their passion was for the process, they chose to focus on teaching the art of fermenting vegetables. They still experiment with new recipes, help set up others in-house or farmstead or fermentories, teach classes on their farm, and host small farm workshops. Welcome to the program, Kirsten and Christopher.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking time to share some of your knowledge with Holly and myself and all of our listeners about fermentation and your book that you've wrote.
Yeah, we're happy to be here.
So let's start with the very basics here. What is fermentation and the benefits that fermentation has on one's body?
Fermentation is super cool. It's basically using microbes, in this case for vegetables, lactobacillus, to preserve your vegetable. Before refrigeration, that's what humans use throughout the world to preserve things. And so really quickly what's happening is the microbes are getting in there and they're breaking down the starches, the carbs, the sugars, and creating acid. And as they do that, a couple of things happen. One is the vegetable becomes acidic, and that makes it inhospitable to all the other microbes that might rot your food. Instead, it's now like a pickle, and it's stable. But what that does for our body is super cool. So with that, we're getting digestive enzymes, and so now our vegetables have digestive enzymes. We're getting higher vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin K2, vitamin B12. All of these things are either added now to the vegetable or like C is raised. And since it's broken down, it's more bioavailable. So you're sending this food down with digestive enzymes. It's more bioavailable. It's higher in vitamins. And so you're able to uptake it more. And then that doesn't even begin to talk about all the probiotic benefits, which I think is what most people think of when they think of fermented foods. That's the sort of the quick overview of what's going on. For gardeners, what I think is amazing is that you're taking those low-acid vegetables, whether it's green beans or leeks or whatever, and you're preserving them at the peak of their ripeness and nutritional value because they're fresh out of the garden, and you're preserving that. You know, you're not losing any of that through freezing or canning or anything like that.
Now, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but there's fermentation. A lot of people will think of, especially here in Milwaukee, beer, wine, that's a fermented beverage. Now, the fermentation that is done with the vegetables, or even something like kombucha, is more of like a lacto-fermentation. Kind of what's the difference? Is still fermentation, but it's not like when it comes to
what
beer and
elements
wine.
Change?
Yeah, when it comes to beer and wine, you're making alcohol. Obviously, with lacto-fermented vegetables, you're not making alcoholic vegetables.
Right.
Although some people would like to try.
Right.
Yeah, the difference is just in the microteam that you're using. So in beer and wine or cider, we're using yeast, and the yeast are eating the sugars and converting those to alcohol and CO2. That gives you your pop when you open that bottle, and it gives you the alcohol that you're looking for. With lactofermentation, instead of yeast, we're using bacteria. They do the same thing. They're processing the carbohydrates, and instead of creating alcohol, they create lactic acid. That's that sour taste that we get from foods like this, that vinegary taste, and also CO2. So it's just different teams going at it for us.
Okay. We know that kraut is made from cabbage. Is there any other vegetables that you can create kraut with, or is this a one-item only type of thing?
No, you can pretty much any vegetable you can dream of, you can ferment. When we first started doing this, there wasn't really much out there online, and I didn't fully understand the science, and I always felt like as I would experiment with new vegetables, you know, like parsnips or whatever, well, don't find anywhere that it'll kill me, you know, it must be okay, and so I would try it. And since then I've learned that, you know, it's just the microbes eating the starch, and so all vegetables have, you know, even basil, which doesn't have a lot in the way of carbohydrates and sugar, we're able to ferment really, really beautifully. So yeah, it doesn't matter what vegetable you use, the flavors are going to, of course, be different. But I tell people you can eat, you know, a fermented vegetable every day of the year and never have sauerkraut if you don't like cabbage.
Yeah, definitely. Some people just don't like cabbage. Now, it seems like a lot of people are getting into home fermentation. I know that there's just tons of Facebook groups about it. There's books, blogs. I know, like, I've taken classes through our local rec department. It's becoming, I don't want to say a thing again, but it's becoming more popular. You know, you can buy kombucha just about anywhere. Why do you think that is?
I think there's a number of things. I think, first of all, there's cost. You know, as you eat these foods, you get a bit addicted to them. And, you know, at $8 to $10 to $12 a jar, pretty soon that starts to add up a little bit for folks. And when they realize it's so simple, they can do it themselves, you can save quite a bit of money by making your own lacto-fermented vegetables. You also have more control. So, you know, you can decide, you know, I love fermented carrots, but I'd like to add a little bit of beet in there, or I'd like to cut that cabbage with some beets, or so you have this creativity that you don't have when you're purchasing a product that you can make yourself. And it's really easy. It's a great thing to do with the kids to get them to know more about their food, and it's a great way to use surplus out of your garden.
With canning, it's a science, and there's a certain procedure in which you have to do in order to be safe. In home fermentation, what are some major things that new fermentators need to be aware of, such as health concerns, cross-contamination, safety? What are some things that really are the top things that, hey, here's what you need to know before you even attempt this?
Well, it's super, super cool. Fermentation is probably one of the safest, vegetable fermentation, lacto-fermentation, one of the safest ways to preserve something. The USDA microbiologist is often quoted because he said nobody has ever died from properly fermented vegetables. Now, the word properly, of course, is in there. So that would lead one to wonder what is proper, right? So the thing with fermentation versus canning is that in canning, the green beans are famous for having hidden botulism, which is tasteless and odorless, and so it's suggested that you boil them for 10 minutes at least before you eat them. With fermented vegetables, if there's something wrong with them, they will let you know. There's no mystery to it. There's no hidden, tasteless, odorless bugs in there. Once the pH level has reached 4.6, which is about the time it tastes a little bit sour, you start smelling pickly, and people that are concerned can also use those little pH strips that are really quite available at home brewing supplies, or I've even seen them in drug stores. But the little pH strip will help you determine that pH level. But what happens is if something gets in there that is trying to rot your food, it will be just like that. Your senses will say, "Do not put me into your mouth." So on a safety aspect, it's really easy to tell, and that's why it's so wonderful to ferment. Now, the big deal is getting things set up so that doesn't happen, and air is what you're trying to do. You're trying to get an anaerobic environment. Like Christopher said, CO2 is one of the things that's created as things are fermenting. And so what the CO2 will do is it might create air pockets. So the biggest thing, first-time fermenter would want to know is you want to pack your vegetables down into their brine nice and tight so that it's an anaerobic environment. And then you need to figure out a way to weight it down. And that can be with, something as simple as you've got a jar, it's about 3/4 filled with your ferment, and then you take a Ziploc type baggie and open that up in the jar and pour water into the bag and close it. And what that does is just creates a nice seal over the ferment itself, and also provides some weight so that CO2 can escape nicely and not create the air pockets. Because when you have air pockets, if oxygen moves in, that's when yeast or molds or other things can move in and make your ferment yucky.
So oxygen is the enemy in this procedure?
Pretty much,
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I know people sometimes don't want to do stuff because they're like, it's an investment, blah, blah, blah. I know a lot of fermentation stuff might be stuff you already have in your kitchen. Is it a large investment? What are you talking about here in regards to supplies?
Well, the process Kirsten just explained, all you need is a jar and a Ziploc bag. So that's not much investment. Probably people have that in their kitchens right away. Fermentation really is a simple process. So, starting out, just a quart, you'd reuse a quart jar. Unlike canning where everything has to be sterile, you just need it clean. And a clean Ziploc bag to weight that down like she had mentioned, and you're set to go, plus some salt and the vegetable.
And we're talking, it needs to be glass. We cannot do this in a plastic device, correct?
Well, you can do it in plastic, but we choose not to. Some of the professional fermenters will use the big, they call them blue oak, basically the big blue barrel, food grade. So if it's food grade plastic, you can, but we We prefer glass just because you can watch it. Like in the process Kirsten was talking about, you can see those little air pockets develop. It's just more fun to take a look at it and be able to see that. So I'd go glass if you could, but you can also use good grade plastic.
Okay.
And if you're a really, big gardener and you do things in bulk, of course, jars are going to feel pretty small and crocks and that kind of stuff. That's where you're going to start getting into a little more investment, but it's still a pretty simple investment. Even if you start getting yourself some large crocks, for 1, 3, 5-gallon batches or something like that.
Okay. So how do we find out more about you, your website, maybe get some more information?
And get your book.
Let's see, our website is Ferment.works. And if you head over to the website, we have a free e-course when you sign up for our mailing list, and it'll send you over the course of 7 days 5 different recipes and just sort of walk you through the basics and, give you the feeling of you've got this. I think that's the biggest fear people have, is just trying to do it that first time. And then our books, we have 2 of them right now. We have Fermented Vegetables, and it's an A to Z type where it sets up, asparagus to zucchini and everything in between. Both books will teach you how to ferment, so it'll give you like the step-by-step in the beginning. Our second book is Fiery Ferments, and it's a condiment. I know it says fiery in the title, but it's more of a condiment book, a lot of hot sauces, but also fermented mustards and other chutneys and, things that are going to offer a lot of flavor that way. And what else? Is that it?
I guess Instagram is pretty popular for a lot of people.
That's true. Instagram. We also have a Instagram page, also at Ferment.works.
Well, we greatly appreciate you guys coming on the program and sharing the information in the world of fermentation with Holly, myself, and all of our listeners.
Yeah, thanks for having us. We like to share with gardeners because they have lots of vegetables.
Thank you.
And when we come back, your garden questions and our garden answers right after this.
If you have a gardening question, now is the time to call in on the ivorganics.com 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline at 414-444-5250.
It's that time to get your lawn lush and green with the CHAPIN spreader, the broadcast spreader that outperforms all in their class. Get consistent results year after year as if you'd hired your own professional lawn service. Find CHAPIN spreaders online or order through your local Home Depot, Lowe's, True Value, or Do It Best hardware stores. To see the full line of CHAPIN lawn and garden products, go to www.chapinmfg.com. This season, arm yourself with the better spreader, CHAPIN. The Tree Diaper is an advanced plant hydration system. It is an innovative device that captures and holds the water around your plants once full and hydrates them slowly when the plants need it over a period of 30 days. From half to 30-gallon capacity based on your needs. And easy to install even for a first-time gardener. The Tree Diaper reduces weeds, protects plants, enhances root growth, and prevents overwatering. Whether you're growing trees, vegetables, flowers, houseplants, in containers, or the ground, your plants will benefit greatly by allowing the Tree Diaper to do the work for you. Find out more at treediaper.com. Made in the USA.
The Handy Safety Knife is a patented, high-quality knife that's worn like a ring, so it's always conveniently at hand and very easy and efficient to work with. That's why you'll find the Handy Safety Knife at work in a wide range of industries and applications. Learn more at handysafetyknife.com. Place an order for your business. Call toll-free 866-294-3424.
Use coupon code WVG to get 10% off and free shipping, one-time use only at handysafetyknife.com. Rebel Green, responsibly made natural products that are good for you and the environment. Made in the USA, plant-based, vegan, and always toxic-free. Find out more at rebelgreen.com. Use coupon code WIVEG15 to save 15% off your next purchase at rebelgreen.com/shop. Flame Engineering, home of the Weed Dragon, the perfect propane torch kit for home and garden use. For killing weeds, no need to pull or spray. 100 other uses. Find out more at flameengineering.com. Eco Garden Systems is a revolutionary way to grow food. A fully contained raised platform with a conventional watering system. Solar power unit optional. Made from recycled material in the U.S., Eco Garden Systems raised garden bed offers sustainable organic gardening that is environmentally sound, quick and easy to set up, maintain, and fun to use. Fill your garden with soil and plant your seeds. Your Eco Garden will take care of the rest. Can set up in backyard, patio, and even your driveway, any level surface. For more information, visit EcoGardenSystems.com. Use coupon code WIVEG125 to save $125 and get free shipping. A $250 value on the purchase of an Eco Garden Original Garden Unit, available only in stone color. Purchases must be made through the website EcoGardenSystems.com/store. Offer valid through December 31st, 2018. Available to the contiguous United States. Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit Bobex.com. BOBBEX.com.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Haas Tools, Tree Diver, Root Maker, Seeding Square, Rebel Green, Dripping Springs Oil, Zaz Products, Shield and Seal, Pomona Universal Pectin. Find all sponsors at thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show
Well, you guys are like internet rock stars.
with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents. Protects newly installed plants and trees. Shields prune and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. You can call in with your question, 414-444-5250.
Had a number of questions come in on the program via social media, email at twvgshow@gmail.com. One is, my romaine lettuce is shooting up and getting tall. Did I not harvest it at the right time, or what's going on with that?
So cool weather crops, which is one of them, is lettuce, and that also includes things like spinach and peas, well, peas-ish, but definitely lettuce and spinach. Well, they'll do this thing, it's called bolting, and that's what your plant did. It bolted when it shot up and it got tall. What happens is that plants are designed to reproduce. That's what their purpose is. They don't care if they're feeding us or not. They're just mentally, or whatever you want to call it,
Naturally
designed to reproduce. So when it bolts, what has happened is that the days got longer, and it felt that the days were getting longer, and so it decided to bolt, which means it's going to put on a seed pod, so it can reproduce.
The leaves become very bitter, but they are edible, and here's how you go ahead and eat your romaine lettuce or any lettuces that become bitter. You take that central stem out, or vein out of the leaf. Then that is where the majority of the bitterness remains, and the leaves, the actual green or red leaf structure, it tastes just fine. So it does take a little more preparation, but you don't have to waste the whole plant and throw it in the compost pile. Trim the leaves off, take that central vein out, and then you can eat your lettuce. And it works phenomenal. We've been doing that for a couple of weeks now to get more longevity and more harvest out of the actual plant. And you can also save it for seed. We've got thousands of lettuce seeds, so we don't really need any more lettuce seeds than that.
Of pest beetles. After doing some research, I believe they are Japanese beetles on my pole beans. I've been plucking them off and smashing them by hand on the ground. There are so many of them. What can I do? All right. Well, if you go the route of getting the Japanese pheromone trap, you do not want to place that trap. And these Japanese beetles will not just attack pole beans. They will eat many different varieties of vegetation. You're going to get this pheromone trap. And many people want to place it where the problem persists. Well, logically, yeah, you would think, okay, I'll put it right next to the pole beans where the bugs or the Japanese beetles are eating them. You want to not do that. That's a no-no. You want to take that pheromone trap and put it away from the problem. These insects pick up this pheromone, and when the wind blows, it's not a mystery smell to them. So you put it away, far away from the problem, like say the corner of the yard, away from the tree, the bush, the shrub, whatever. And you're trying to lure them away from the plant in which they're attacking. They get trapped in the pheromone trap. You can dispose of them that way. An organic method of control may be the traps. They can be found at your local garden center. Neither method will completely control the population. So whether you're hand-picking or you're using the pheromone trap, you just are getting the adults. If you take a biological tactic to try to win this war, you're getting rid of the adults that are going to that's going to put the offspring out. For insurance, in the case of the Japanese beetles, the larva begins to hatch in the midsummer. This is the best time to use your arsenal of biological controls to eradicate the pests. You can also use BT. It's a insect toxin that's poisonous to the beetle. It's a natural occurring bacteria in nature. It comes in liquid and or powder form, but you do have to reapply after each rain. The BT is insect toxin that poisons the beetle's stomach or the bacteria Bacillus papillae, P-A-P-I-L-L-A-E, which infects the grubs with milky spore disease and leaches into the soil to prevent future generations. So, again, the easiest pathway to Japanese beetle control is using the pheromone trap, putting it away from the problem, and multiple ones if you have a very thick infestation on a lot of plant life. That's the best way to go. Now, I've seen some of them in the Milwaukee area where I'm from, Southern Illinois. It's a persistent problem year after year where they just devastate beans and trees and shrubs and all types of vegetation, but they are migrating farther and farther north, so it's another problem in addition to many other things that we need to be aware of. Well, we are out of time, and we always appreciate your time, you tuning into the program, telling your friends via social media platforms and or in person that we exist. No matter where you're listening to in the country or the world, the information is applicable to all locations. You just may have to tweak the dates and the times that you applied for your particular growing area and growing the community of Garden Talk Radio here in Milwaukee. Well, programming note, tell your friends that next week we're going to talk about eating weeds, proper plant identification of weeds that are growing in your garden that you can eat and consume without any problems, as well as 4 chemicals that many people use on their gardens that we don't recommend, and we'll give you the reasons why. Our guest, Marissa McClaney, will be with us. She is author and blogger of foodandjar.com. We're going to talk about preserving, as well as taking more of your garden questions. Miss any portion of this program or want to revisit in its entirety, you can certainly do that by going under the radio tab at the website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and clicking on the full-length in-studio video or the podcast form of the program on Stitcher, iTunes, Podomatic, and other platforms. If you want a specific interview or individual segment, you can go to the highlight tab on the main page of the same website. Until next week, for Holly Baird, I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.
You've been listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Tell a friend and join Joy and Holly again next week so we can all grow together. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is a production of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com in association with WI Garden Media broadcast live from the WNOV 860 AM and the W293CX 106.5 FM Courier Communication Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.